Hey there, girlfriend. Does your concealer or foundation sometimes run if you have watery eyes? Well, you have come to the right place. If you've ever asked yourself how to bake your foundation, we are going to get to the bottom of this in today's video. We will see you inside. Hi there, my name is Ingafay, and I am a confidence coach. And in this video, we're going to talk about baking foundation. And I'm really talking about this because I know many of you out there have had times when your eyes are running, or you have your eyes are just running, and the foundation or concealer that you put on is getting washed away as a result of that. Well, in this video, we're going to talk about techniques that are going to help you avoid, if that happens, to avoid that from really messing up your makeup. The first thing we're going to talk about is what baking means. So we'll give you a definition of that for those of you that are not really familiar with the term. Then we're going to talk about the order that you should bake your face, if you need to do it before or after your foundation. And last but definitely not least, I'm going to actually go through a quick tutorial with you and show you exactly how I bake my foundation so you'll know how to do it in the future. So let's do this, shall we? So what does baking mean? Baking means that you're basically going to put some loose powder. You can put it all over your face or in a certain area of your face, and you're going to let your body temperature bake that powder into your concealer or your foundation. Typically, I know when I bake, I normally do it up under my eyes because my eyes are darker I'm dark around under and around my eyes. So that's an area that I really want to make sure that the concealer and the foundation stay in place, so I don't have my raccoon eyes when I'm just out and about. But if you don't have that issue, say you want to do your whole face, you can use this technique to do your whole face. So essentially you're putting the loose powder on your face, probably either most of the time it's probably via a sponge, because that's typically what I use, is a blending sponge. And you'll let that foundation soak into your skin just via your body temperature, and then you'll brush off the excess later. So that's essentially what happens when you bake. So I'm curious, have you baked before? Have you done anything like this in the past? By all means, share that with us below in the comments. We would love to know if you've baked in the past or if this is a new type of thing for you. So now let's talk about the order of application for the baking. Do you do this before you put on the foundation or after? Well, girlfriend, I want to tell you, baking is something that you do after you put on your foundation. This is not a before thing. I know sometimes the concealer can either be put on before or after your foundation, which really is a personal preference, but definitely baking is something you do once your foundation is on and in place. So you want to make sure that you can do that. Typically, when people bake their foundation, they use one or two type of loose powders. They can do a translucent, and a translucent powder is basically a white powder, so anybody could use it, if they're the darkest African American woman or the fairest Caucasian woman. Because it's white, everybody can use it. In addition to that, you can also use a flesh tone loose powder to do your baking. So it really just it depends on your personal preference. Me personally, I like to bake with a flesh tone. Sometimes I think when I use the translucent powder, it has more of a residue that I can't really blend away, that I don't like. So as a result, I really do use a flesh tone type of loose powder. So, but again, it's totally up to you depending on your complexion and what your end result desire is. So I'm going to let you decide that. It's all about doing you, boo. So make sure that you choose something that is best for you and makes you feel good in your skin. Now, before we go on to the tutorial, I wanted to remind you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We upload a video every Tuesday for your viewing pleasure, and we don't want you to miss a beat. So be sure to subscribe. So let's talk about exactly how to bake your foundation. Now, like I had said before, some tools that you're going to need right from the beginning is a loose powder, whether it be translucent or flesh tone. That's really up to you. I like to use a blending sponge, typically a smaller one that I can really get into my eye area. That's typically what I do. We do have a bigger sponge where it has a pointy top and a round bottom. But if you're using that one, you want to use the top of the sponge to get up under your eye. If you're using it all over your face, you could probably use the bottom part and just kind of put it all over your face. But in this video that I'm showing you, I have a smaller blending sponge that does have a pointy tip, but it is smaller. So it's not the bigger blending sponge that I was talking about that I can share with you in the description and also in this picture. So basically I have already put on my makeup, and just really quickly, typically what I do is I put my eye makeup on first. And before I put that eye makeup on, of course, I'm putting some kind of eye primer on to set the eye makeup. I do a concealer, and then I apply my eyeshadow. I do it like that because if I have any kind of fallout, I don't have to reapply my foundation all over again. I can just wipe it off my face. So I've applied my foundation. I typically apply concealer first and then the foundation. And then I use a powder that is slightly lighter than me as a means to bake, to set my makeup and give me a little highlight. So I typically, as you can see in this video, I'm putting the powder up under my eyes, also putting the powder right above my pout, and I'm putting it on my nose and then around my eyebrows. And that's typically what I do when I bake my foundation. Now, after I do that, I do also let the makeup sit on my face for about 1 to 2 minutes. And you can see I'm just kind of moving around as the time goes by, but I sit there for about 2 minutes to let it bake in, just with my body temperature. And then after I do that, I go in and I just brush the excess powder off, and then I'm set to go. So that's typically what you do. It doesn't take long to do. Typically when I'm baking my foundation, I may be doing something with my hair. So it's kind of a time where I'm doing something else. I've probably got my makeup all straight. I may be putting on my jewelry then. That's another thing that I typically do. But it's a part of my routine where I'm just not kind of sitting there waiting like, okay, what's going on? I am doing other things at that time. So you can kind of do the same thing. This may be a time where you're putting your stuff in your purse or gathering the things that you need to have wherever you're going. That would be a great time for you to get it all together to bake. So you're kind of doing something in the meantime, between time while this is happening, and then just brush it off. Now, if you're interested in the products that I mentioned, like the translucent powder, that flesh tone powder, the brushes that I use, even the sponge, all that information is going to be down in the description. So you can just click the links to find out exactly what I use and how you can get access to them. So I wanted to thank you for watching this video today. As always, I will see you next time. Bye for now.